Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham, and welcome to the Stage 14 betting preview for the Tour de France. Well, I did say that you should not leave your television for Stage 13, and so it proved another very exciting stage indeed. We took forever for the breakaway to form, and when it did form, it was a big break that got away. We had 20 riders go clear. A bit surprising that Team UAE, who were clearly targeting the stage, allowed such a big break to go clear, and they should have probably been a bit more vigilant. If they let a smaller break go clear, they certainly could have chased it down a lot easier. As it is, Pogacar put his UAE team on the front. They worked on the front all day, but they fell short in the end. And it was Mikhail Kwiatkowski from Ineos Grenadiers. I backed him on one of the other stages, of course, without joy. And can you believe it? I had two Ineos Grenadiers this time around, not one of them one. So one of those punting Tour de France's for me so far. Anyway, Kwiatkowski was very impressive, going on to win it by 47 seconds from Van Gils, with Pogacar finishing strong and finishing in third, getting 4 bonus seconds here, and also picking up another 4 seconds of Vingegaard. So he's now only 9 seconds behind. But I want to, I must bring up this question here. What were UAE doing on stage 13? It was very confusing indeed. The fact that they let such a big break get away, they had to work hard. But even then, it appeared as though they were on track to pull it back, but they just didn't do that final climb fast enough. And there's a couple of, I've got a couple of thoughts around this. When you look towards the final 3 or 4 kilometers, there was still a relatively big group of sort of 8 riders or so around Vingegaard and Pogacar. And that tells me that the UAE team just weren't pulling that fast up the climb. Yes, they were burning guys off, but they weren't pulling fast enough to catch Kwiatkowski at the front, first of all. And it wasn't the sort of stage that we've seen previously where it's sort of Kuss and then Pogacar and Vingegaard together. So very, very interesting. I actually wonder, and I mean, we may never know the answer to this, and maybe some people would shoot me down straight away, but I actually wonder if Pogacar himself was not on the best of days. And he had his team on the front, and then he figured, well, we better keep them on the front, but let's not burn it too hard up the hill. I don't want to put myself into any difficulty. And Vingegaard obviously was fairly defensive at that point as well, because maybe he wasn't on the best day either, but he didn't want to pull Pogacar to the win. So yeah, it struck me during the race that this is very unusual to have so many guys together near the end. Of course, Pogacar did attack and take those seconds at the end in the last kilometer, but I think if he'd been feeling better, he would have gone a lot sooner or got his team to work harder. I'm suspecting he wasn't on the best of days. Certainly wasn't on a bad day, but he didn't want to expose himself and suddenly be left stranded with just Vingegaard and maybe Kuss at the top of the climb. So anyway, that's my theory for what it's worth. But it was a good stage, but now we move into some really, really difficult mountain stages. And let's get into stage 14. Now, just to give you a quick update on the betting, Pogacar shortened into an 8-10 favourite to win the Tour, with Vingegaard now 11-10. Pogacar also favourite for the King of the Mountains. And Ineos have strengthened their grip on the team classification. They're into 4-11 now to win the team classification. But what a stage we got in store for us on Saturday. Are we watching the rugby test matches on Saturday morning and then settling in for an afternoon of watching Tour de France? Can't wait, I can tell you. The stage starts climbing straight away. We then get to our first classified climb, 4.2 kilometers at 4.6%. Then we've got a Cat 1, another Cat 1. You could see it's just up and down. There's no valleys. It's really up and down. You're either going up an incline or you're going down an incline. A little bit of sort of flattening out here, I suppose you would say, before we do the Cat 1 climb, 13.9 kilometers at 7.1%. And then we do have a bit of a valley road here before going up the Col du Jouplan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. 11.6 kilometers at 8.5%. It's an absolute beast of a climb. And we basically descend down into the finish. So it's not a long stage, 151.8 kilometers. But my goodness, we have seen some battles to get into the break of the Tour de France. And this is going to be no different. Because once again, in fact, more so, I think, than today's break, it's not actually today anymore. I'm in the early hours of the morning here. The stage 13 break there weren't a lot of really strong riders there. It was a fairly weak break as far as mountain top finishes got away. And that was because guys kind of knew that UAE would be chasing the breakdown, and everyone expected UAE to chase the breakdown, even though it didn't happen. Now, on this stage, it's a little bit different because I expect UAE to ride quite defensively on this stage. And by the same token, Jumbo-Visma will do a lot more attacking. But I would expect Jumbo-Visma to use their usual tactic of trying to get someone like Wout van Aert and maybe even one other rider up into the break. And for that to be effective, they really need the break to go quite far ahead in order to make use of those guys. Otherwise, you catch the break too soon, then a guy like Wout van Aert is really not that much use to you after all. So I don't think Jumbo-Visma are going to be riding this one as if they want to win the stage, and that actually means that the break must have a chance. It's not that, it may well be that Jumbo-Visma, if they ride these climbs hard, because they're going to want to make this a tough stage, no doubt about it, to try and put Pogacar under pressure. If they ride it hard, the break could be picked up anyway. So this is definitely a stage, in my opinion, that can go either way. It could go to the GC guys, and we'll have a quick look at the betting there. We've got Pogacar 7-2 favourite ahead of Vingegaard. Felix Gall, who will be finishing with the GC guys as well, 12-1. Pidcock as well. None of those guys will be allowed into the break, even though there's going to be a lot of chaos at the start of the stage. South Africans should take note here. Louis Mankey's 22-1. His best chance is to get into the break, and he has shown a tendency to get into breaks and hasn't really finished many of them off. But there is a good chance with his climbing ability that if he's in a break of guys that are not the greatest of climbers or not as good as him, he can pull clear on that final climb and then ride through to the victory. Anyway, you'll see I'm going for a few long shots on this one. I really am struggling. Will it be the break? Will it be the GC? I'm going to put my bets towards the break because that way I only have to put small investments down. I am considering backing Pogacar at 7-2. I would do it with World Sports Betting. And the reason, of course, is that they've got their money back for second place promo. You can get the terms and conditions on their site. But I'm going to leave that alone for now. And let me bring up my bets here. And I'll put them all just on one for now. And I'm going to go half a unit on each of these guys. I'm going to go O'Connor at 40-1. So O'Connor, he dropped back quite early today. I'm kind of hoping he was saving himself for this stage. He did show early in the week that his condition's improving. And being a top climber, if he does manage to get into a break that gets a good lead, he's certainly got the ability to finish it. Half a unit on Pedrero at 66-1. He also appeared in the break the other day. And he enjoys lots of climbing and long climbs. So this stage should start to suit his capabilities quite well. I'm expecting Movistar to have one or two in the break. So hopefully Pedrero will be there. And then half a unit on Castro Vegeo at 66-1. I had him at 100-1 today, and he actually did try and make the break at one point. Unfortunately, he didn't get on. And it was his teammate who ended up winning the stage. But those are my three picks. As you can see, very speculative. Of course, I just need to hit one of these, and my Tour de France is very much on track. But I'll be watching the stage, not that much worried about the punting. I will be looking at maybe some in-running opportunities. But at the end of the day, I just want to enjoy what should be an incredible stage of the Tour de France. This break is going to be fascinating to watch for. I mean, it's up and down. And yes, we may even get enough chaos that we get someone within maybe 7 or 8 minutes of the yellow jersey gets clear. And that means we've got to chase on all day. And it also does decrease the break's chances. You do have bonus seconds here on the top of the final climb. So certainly someone like Pogacar or even Vingegaard, if he manages to drop Pogacar, will be eyeing out those as well. We're in for a fascinating stage. I wish I knew what was going to happen. But one thing for sure, I'm really going to enjoy watching it all unfold. We'll see you on Saturday night for the Stage 15 preview. We're still in the mountains, and it should be another cracker.